Hello students, how are you? I hope this video finds you in a very good health and in very good spirits. And coming to the lesson today, we are going to read a poem, A Poison Tree, written by William Blake. It is a text prescribed for the first year students. Okay. But as a poem, it has a deep meaning and most significance for the present times. So all the students can watch the video and read the lesson. Okay, let us start our poem Poison Tree by William Blake. So coming to the poet William Blake, have you ever heard of him? One of the most famous poets of Romantic age of English poetry. Okay, what is Romantic age? It is late 18th century and early 19th century, maybe a period of about 30 to 40 years. Beginning at the end decades, the last decades of 18th century and ending in the initial decades of 19th century. So the famous poets of those times are William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Keats, Shelley, Byron, Southey and William Blake. So the Romantic poetry has a distinctive character to it. It made the poetry very simple, readable, relatable. A language of common people is used in Romantic poetry, and most of the times it is groundbreaking and against the value systems, beliefs. And William Blake, though most of his poems are biblical in their references, in their utterances, the allegories, the metaphors, most of his poems have sheep, shepherds, angels, small children. All are biblical concepts are used most of the times, yet they are rebellious in nature. They question the values of the system, the prevailing system, though trying to be within the walls of religion. We can say that he was trying the religion, the Christianity, to revival of the religion. Maybe that's what he wanted through his poems. He was a reformist. Though religious, he was a reformist. Sometimes he was considered insane by his contemporary people, and his poems have a quality. Most of them are like nursery rhymes, like tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, or walking down the valleys wild. Many songs are there. They have nursery rhyme quality to them, but they have a deep and profound meaning to it, meaning to them. So a poison tree, this is also like a nursery rhyme, small, sweet, yet with a deeper meaning to it. Okay, let us get into the poem first. I will read the poem for you. Please follow the poem carefully. Poison Tree by William Blake. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. Again, I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. And I watered in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it with my smiles, and with soft, deceitful wiles. And I watered it with fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it with my smiles, and with soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright, and my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had wheeled the pole. And into my garden stole, when the night had wheeled the pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. Okay. Now, I'll give you meaning. I was angry, you know, wrath, W-A-R-T-H, wrath. This is also anger, angry. Okay, being angry with somebody is wrath. Foe is enemy. What do you mean by foe? Foe is enemy. You know, tears. Sun means giving sunlight. Deceitful, that means deception. Deceitful means pretending, giving deception to someone. Now, let us go into the poem and its analysis. Okay. A Poison Tree is a poem that focuses on the emotion of anger and the consequences for our relationships should that anger be suppressed. It deals with the darker side of the human psyche. The speaker tells of how he talked to a friend about his anger and everything was fine, but with enemy he could not do so and kept the anger inside. It began to grow, eventually becoming a metaphorical tree with poison fruit. Okay. After reading this, we'll again go back to the poem. I will explain to you line by line. I was angry with my friend. Okay, I was angry with my friend. So what happens when you are angry with your friend? I told my wrath did end. The poet told his friend about his anger. And when he told about his anger, the anger or the wrath died down. There was no anger. When he let the anger out, he expressed his anger towards his friend. He was angry and he told it to his friend that please look, my dear friend, I am angry with you. This is the reason for that I am angry with you. So he told his friend that these are the reasons that I am angry with you. I have a wrath towards you, and surprisingly the anger died down. He no more had anger towards the friend, and he expressed his feelings. The feelings came out. He did not hold anything in his heart. His heart was clear. All the anger was taken out, expressed out. So his heart was clear. Nothing was inside. Heart was now pure. It was with a friend. But what happened? I was angry with my foe. What did I say? The meaning of foe was enemy. So when you are angry with your enemy, you don't talk to him properly. So when you don't talk to him, I told it not. I didn't tell him about my anger or my wrath. So the anger did not come out of my heart. Okay. The anger stayed inside my heart. If I let it out, then the anger will come out and my heart will be pure. But when you keep the anger for somebody inside your heart, when you don't tell them about your pain or your anger or about your wrath, it will grow inside your heart. So my wrath did grow. So in 4 sentences, in the first stanza of 4 sentences, he gave you a situation. Okay. First it was a friend. He was angry at the friend, and immediately he told that I am angry with you, or I am angry at you. And what happened? Immediately the anger died down. He had no more anger inside his heart because he let it out. All the anger, all the wrath was let out. The anger was flushed out of his heart and mind. But in the second 2 lines, I was angry with my foe. Now the anger is with his enemy. What happened? I told it not. I did not tell him about this anger or wrath, and wrath did grow. When you don't tell something that is inside your heart, it will not come out. It will stay inside unless you let it out. So you are not letting it out means it is inside your heart, and it is not remaining silent or stable. Day by day it is growing. It's growing like a tree. Okay, it is what is the comparison? It is growing like a tree. The seed of anger, the seed of wrath is inside your heart. And what are you doing? The seed of anger, a small seed of anger or enmity or wrath towards your foe, you kept it inside your heart. You did not throw it out. You did not blurt out your anger. You kept it inside your heart. And I watered it in fears. So to that seed of anger that is growing inside my heart, I am nurturing, I am giving waters. It in fears. All my fears. I am giving it all my fears. I have so many fears about that enemy. So I gave all my fears. I watered that seed of anger with all my fears. Like, what will he do to me? Should I be afraid of him? He may attack me, he may kill me, or he may outgrow me. So all these are fears that we have towards our enemies. We don't tell them anytime. So the seed of anger is watered with fears. Night and morning with my tears. And tears, his sadness, his misery, his jealousy. He watered the seed of anger that is inside his heart with his tears and fears. And I sunned it with my smile. And I sunned it with my smiles. This is the deceitful nature of a person. For outwards, he is giving smiles. To the same person, he is nurturing his anger towards. For a person, he is nurturing his anger. But outwards, he is giving smiles. Like he is giving sunlight to the seed of anger with his deceitful smiles. So it is deceitful. It is harmful because there is no purity in your smile. Is there purity? No. Inside of your heart, you are full of hatred, fear, anger. But outside, you are smiling at the same person for whom you are nurturing the hatred, and with soft, deceitful words. So you are talking very softly, in a very polite manner. You are talking to the same person, your enemy. Maybe he doesn't know that you are considering him as his enemy, and you don't want him to consider you as his enemy. So you are smiling at him. You don't want him to know about your fears or your anger towards him. You are covering it with your deceitful smiles. So the tree of anger, the plant, the seed of anger is growing inside the heart of the poet like a poison tree. It's a poison seed. So the coming tree would be a poison tree. And it grew both day and night. And it grew both day and night till it bore an apple bright. So the poison tree inside the heart of the poet, it grew bigger and bigger day by day. Because he nurtured it with fear, anger, tears, hatred. And that seed of wrath, the seed of hatred, the seed of anger inside his heart towards his enemy grew bigger day by day till it bore an apple bright. And one day an apple came to the tree. The tree of hatred gave an apple. What kind of apple it would be? It would be sweet? Would it be positive? Would it be happy apple? No. A poison seed gives you a poison fruit. Okay. So it's a poisonous apple. But like his feelings, his outward feelings. The apple represents his outward feelings. Like smiles, deceitful smiles and deceitful conversation. It is also very bright. Inside the apple there was poison. The apple was poisonous inside, but outward appearance was very bright, red and beautiful. Like the poet himself. The poet was outwardly very friendly, very polite, very well mannered, very well cultured towards his enemy, but inside he was seething with anger, searing with anger, hatred. There was a simmering hatred for his enemy that was about to burst someday. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. So his enemy saw the apple, it was shining, but he did not know that the apple is poisonous. So he thought it was the poet who was very bright. Okay, he thought the poet, the apple from the poison tree of the poet was very bright. And he knew that it was mine. It is like a trap. And into my garden stole when the night had veiled the poet. So one day during night, he was attracted towards the apple, the outward appearance of the poet. The apple is nothing but the outward appearance of the poet. How was he outwards? He was very friendly. He was very lovely, polite, well mannered, well cultured. So to this kind of personality, his enemy was attracted. And into my garden stole when the night was veiled the poet. So one day his enemy came into his garden of poison tree. And he took the apple. He took the bait. He took the bait of apple that the poet has kept for him. That he had all the days nurtured with hatred, anger and deceit. And he ate the fruit, the forbidden fruit or the poisonous fruit. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. So beneath the tree the foe was outstretched. That means he was lying lifeless. He was dead underneath the tree. after eating the apple tree, after eating the apple that looked so bright and so shiny and so colorful, so tasty, but inside it was the wrath, the anger, the poison that was inside the heart of the poet towards this enemy. So unknowingly, without noticing the hatred in the eyes or in the heart of the poet, he took the bait of apple and he ate the apple. He died underneath the tree. What tree was that? It was the tree of anger, the tree of hatred. Okay, so this is the poem. Now we will go into further discussion after going line by line and discussing. A Poison Tree is a poem that focuses on the emotion of anger and the consequences of our relationships should that anger be suppressed. So the poet is trying to tell us what happens if the anger is suppressed. If we do not let our anger come out, if we suppress the anger, what happens? It deals with the darker side of the human psyche. The speaker tells of how he talked to a friend about his anger and everything was fine, but when enemy he could not do so, he kept the anger inside. It began to grow, eventually becoming a metaphorical tree with poison fruit. So, when he did not tell about his anger towards the enemy, naturally he was an enemy, he considered him as enemy, so he did not tell him. So it grew metaphorically inside the heart. So metaphorical, not the real tree, but a metaphorical tree inside the garden of his heart. The enemy or foe ends up under the tree, destroyed by the speaker's pent up anger. So apple is the result of his pent up anger, the accumulated anger, hatred. So he ate deceitful fruit and the enemy died. The speaker seems okay, but there's some doubt about the destructiveness of his anger. Early communication of anger seems to be best way to deal with it. So through this poem, maybe the poet wants to tell us that don't keep any anger inside you. Don't nurture it. Don't water it. Don't give it any kind of nutrients. Don't grow your anger inside the heart of that, inside your heart that should be very pure. We should tell somebody if we are angry with them. If we do not tell them, it will grow eventually to bring only destruction and deceit. So William Blake's poem was written in 1794 and first appeared in his book of Songs of Experience, which followed on from his earlier Songs of Innocence. So William Blake had two kinds of songs. One, Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience. So during the times of William Blake, that means, as I told you, it was late 18th century and early 19th century, society at the time was encouraged to bottle up emotions and to present a polite and unruffled persona to the world. So that world, the world to which William Blake belonged, was a world which considered giving up emotions or letting out emotions was a bad practice. Showing anger was not considered a good manners. It was considered bad manners. The Stoicism, the Victorian Stoicism, the famous Victorian Stoicism, that you should not show any kind of emotion in your face. Even at the time of adversity or fear, you must not show it in your face. That means even if you are angry at somebody, you have to bottle it up. You should not show it. You must show only politeness. The Victorian manners are very famous. The language, the manners, the etiquette, everything restricted the natural behavior of human being. So people were not encouraged, or people were not expected to show their anger towards other people, especially in public. So what happened? People started bottling up their emotions, anger or sorrow or anything. They did not show in their faces, on their faces, or in their behavior, or in their language. So when everything is bottled up, the pressure builds up inside the bottled up heart. When the pressure builds more and more, it is bound to blast or bound to burst sometime. So when it bursts, it will be a destruction to you, to the person who does that, and the person towards which the hatred is directed. Blake thought this approach unhealthy and advocated a more expressive mode of being, especially with regards to potentially festering emotions. His ideas were against the prevailing attitude of the church and state. Okay. During those times, church and state, they wanted the individuals or the citizens to be very polite or stoic or wooden faced, as we can say, not showing any emotion on face or in his body, in the body language. Many scholars now think of Blake as forward-thinking individual, way ahead of his times, a visionary who might well have been very much at home in modern society, with its emphasis of self-exploration of the psyche. So, after reading this poem, the critics think that Blake was far ahead of his times because he could read the psychology of a person and he could advocate the self-analysis of one's psychology. He was against the church and state of his contemporary times, which advocated the suppressing of anger and emotion. A poison tree uses metaphor, antithesis, and biblical associations to highlight the self-damage that can proceed from suppressing anger. So biblical because the apple, it appears in the same Bible. the forbidden fruit, the apple that Eve eats, and only to get banished from the Garden of Eden. It is given deceitfully by Satan to the innocent Eve. In the same way, here the William Blake is using the same biblical metaphor. Here the poet is growing an apple, a forbidden fruit, with the poison, like snake, like Satan, and he is luring his enemy to take the fruit because it looks so great and beautiful and tasty. So he lures his enemies to take it. When he takes the apple, his world is collapsed. That means he is dead. As Eve's world was collapsed and she was sent, or we can say she was thrown to stay on earth along with Adam. The poem is one sense reads like a nursery rhyme but carries with its potent message that it's still relevant for today. Anger management. What is that message that is relevant today? Anger management. In today's society, the pressure has increased on individual, and anger management has become a focal issue for many. And Blake's present point hits the nail on the head with its antithetical argument for letting go of negative energy. So the anger or hatred or deceitfulness inside your heart creates a kind of negative energy that will consume you, that will take you to the edge of distraction. So this poet William Blake is advocating towards letting your emotions out, letting your anger out. In this way, you are letting your negative energy outside once and for all. If once it is given out, then you are free. Your mind is empty, your heart is empty. It is clean and clear. No more seeds inside your heart that can make a big tree, or that can make a Satan, or that can make a poison apple. So see, there is repeated emphasis on self-awareness. Nowadays we hear many things about self-awareness classes, personality development. So this poem is like a personality development class. So that is why he used I, me, mine many times. The responsibility of managing anger is personal. So by using these words, I, me, mine, the poet indicates towards the responsibility of managing anger is personal. We ourselves must take care of the anger within us. If not taken care, the anger will grow and it will bring destruction to us and the people around us. So again, something has upset the speaker. When there was a friend and you are upset with your friend, he is your friend, you will tell him that I am upset with you or I am angry with you. Then that's all. The matter closed there. You don't have anger anymore inside your heart. So the burden is reduced, the burden is cleared, and you are free. His enemy, what happens when he gets angry with his enemy? The situation is different. He cannot tell anything. So the anger inside him grows. like a tree inside. Though outward appearance is happy, inside things are turning toxic. And the outward appearance makes an apple, a beautiful fruit. Now, apple, a beautiful fruit, a deceitful fruit with its color and aroma attracts his enemy. The enemy takes their bait, falls into the trap of the poet, the beautiful trap, the deceitful trap, and he plays into the hands of the poet and he dies. The conflict hasn't been resolved in an amicable manner and the outcome is disaster. So there was a conflict between the two individuals and that was not resolved immediately or amicably or positively. The pent up anger has destroyed his enemy and himself also. The both have suffered the destructive effects of the suppressed or unconscious anger that you don't know existed inside you. So in Poison Tree, speaker presents a powerful argument against suppression of anger. So he advocates or advises that we should not suppress our anger. It should be let out for our betterment as an individual, so that nothing vile or nothing poison stays inside our heart or mind. Everything is let out. The steam of anger must come out. Otherwise, the cooker of heart will burst out anytime. So this is very simple poem, as I told you. It is like a nursery rhyme. Very simple and very easy, but it has a very great meaning to it, and moreover it has relevance to the times that we live in. Okay, this is all for the day.